Welcome to the Bible Stories with Gian channel. In this video, we will explore the top 9 forbidden powers in the Bible, exposing those who dared to use these supernatural abilities and the consequences they faced for their actions. Let's dive into God's laws and see what happened to those who broke His divine boundaries. Number 9. Necromancy. Necromancy is the practice of communicating with the dead. The Bible clearly forbids this practice. In 1 Samuel 28:10-12, King Saul seeks out the witch of Endor to summon the spirit of the prophet Samuel. Saul did this because he was afraid of the upcoming battle with the Philistines and felt abandoned by God. By attempting necromancy, Saul broke God's laws and ignored His guidance. As a result, Samuel appeared and told Saul that he would lose the battle and die. This story shows how dangerous necromancy is and reinforces the importance of following God's commandments rather than seeking forbidden knowledge. Number 8. Witchcraft. Witchcraft involves using magic and supernatural powers, which the Bible condemns. In the New Testament, Acts 8:9-24 tells the story of Simon the magician in Samaria. Simon was known for his powerful magic tricks, and many people thought he had divine power. However, when Simon saw the apostles Peter and John giving people the Holy Spirit, he tried to buy this power for himself. Peter sternly rebuked Simon, condemning his attempt to misuse spiritual gifts for selfish gain. This story highlights the difference between true faith and the misuse of spiritual abilities, emphasizing that God's gifts cannot be bought or sold. Number 7. Divination. Divination is the practice of seeking knowledge about the future or the unknown through supernatural means. The Bible clearly warns against it. In Numbers 22-24, the story of Balaam illustrates the dangers of divination. Balaam was a prophet who was hired by King Balak of Moab to curse the Israelites. Despite God's instructions, Balaam eventually blessed the Israelites instead. However, his attempt to gain forbidden knowledge led to his downfall. This story teaches us that seeking supernatural knowledge outside of God's will is dangerous and futile. Number 6. Astrology. Astrology involves predicting events by studying the movements of celestial bodies. While it was common in ancient cultures, the Bible warns against relying on astrology. In Daniel 2, King Nebuchadnezzar of Babylon has a disturbing dream that his astrologers cannot interpret. The Hebrew prophet Daniel, with God's help, accurately interprets the dream, revealing God's plans for the future. This event shows that true wisdom and understanding come from God, not from the stars. It emphasizes the importance of seeking God's guidance instead of relying on astrology. Number 5. Magic was practiced by magicians in ancient Egypt during Moses' time. In Exodus 7-12, 2 Egyptian magicians, often referred to as Jannes and Jambres, try to imitate the miracles performed by Moses and Aaron. They turn their staffs into snakes and water into blood, but their magic is limited and cannot match God's power. When God sends plagues upon Egypt, the magicians' efforts fail, proving that their magic is weak compared to God's miracles. This story teaches that magic cannot stand against God's power and highlights the dangers of relying on such practices. Number 4. Idolatry and witchcraft. Idolatry involves worshiping false gods, and it is closely linked with witchcraft. In the story of Ahab and Jezebel found in 1 Kings 16-21 and 2 Kings 9:30-37, Jezebel, the wife of King Ahab, promotes the worship of Baal and engages in witchcraft. Her actions lead Israel into severe idolatry and spiritual darkness. God punishes Jezebel for her wickedness, and her gruesome death serves as a warning against the destructive power of idolatry and witchcraft. This story emphasizes the importance of remaining faithful to God and rejecting all forms of false worship. Number 3. False prophecy. False prophecy involves delivering messages that claim to be from God, but are actually based on the prophet's own imagination or deceit. In Jeremiah 28, the prophet Hananiah falsely prophesies that the Babylonian exile will last only 2 years and that the Israelites will return to Jerusalem. This contradicts Jeremiah's true prophecy that the exile would last 70 years. When Hananiah's false prophecy fails, he dies, confirming Jeremiah's warnings. This incident shows the serious consequences of false prophecy and the importance of discerning true messages from God. Number 2. Consulting idols. Consulting idols means seeking guidance or help from false gods instead of God. In 2 Kings 21 and 2 Chronicles 33, King Manasseh of Judah is notorious for his extensive idolatry. He builds altars for false gods, sacrifices his own children, and leads the nation into severe apostasy. Manasseh's actions provoke God's wrath, leading to Judah's downfall. Although he later repents, the damage is done, illustrating the long-lasting effects of turning away from God and relying on idols. This story warns against abandoning God's commandments in favor of false beliefs. Number 1. Human sacrifice. Human sacrifice is the act of offering a human life to a deity, which is strictly forbidden by God. In 2 Kings 16 and 2 Chronicles 28, King Ahaz of Judah practices human sacrifice by offering his own son to false gods like Baal and Asherah. Ahaz's extreme actions show his deep corruption and rejection of God's laws. His reign leads to political chaos, military defeats, and spiritual decline in Judah. This story underscores the value of human life and the severe consequences of engaging in such abominable practices. These stories from the Bible serve as powerful warnings about the dangers of seeking forbidden powers. They highlight the importance of obeying God's laws and relying on His guidance, rather than turning to practices that lead us away from Him. By studying these accounts, we learn the risks and consequences of disobedience and the value of maintaining a faithful relationship with God. Thank you for watching. I hope you found these stories insightful and encouraging. Remember to stay faithful and follow God's commandments to avoid the pitfalls of forbidden powers. See you in the next video. Take care. God bless you all.